I'm here today just to tell the truth, so hopefully we can get down to the bottom of this. I'm 100%, the charges against me are 100% false, and hopefully due to time, we'll start to see that.
Let that be a lesson to all the bullies. May it be in comedy, may it be in wherever. You never know who you step into.
Macaulay Culkin's revelations about the entertainment industry's dark side have sent shockwaves through Hollywood, leaving many wondering just how deep the rabbit hole goes. When a former star who once graced the silver screen in one of the most beloved holiday films of all time comes forward with such bombshell claims, it's impossible not to take notice. But what exactly is Culkin saying, and why is it so important now?
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the shoe have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on side watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there, he was like an overnight guest.
Let's rewind to the height of Culkin's fame. In the early 90s, he was everywhere. Home Alone had catapulted him to international stardom, and he was the face of family-friendly entertainment. But behind the scenes, the story was far from the picture-perfect image fans saw on screen. Hollywood, as Culkin has recently revealed, is often a place that preys on the young, vulnerable, and impressionable. He's not just talking about the pressures of fame. He's suggesting something much darker.
You know, like what it takes
whole process,
yeah,
auditions,
exactly.
meetings,
I don't like being on the circuit kind of thing. Looking at so, but yeah, no, I write a lot, I paint a lot. Like I just kind of always have like some kind of projects.
Culkin has hinted that the industry is controlled by powerful figures who manipulate and exploit young talent. His words have echoed those of other former stars who have come forward in recent years. But what makes Culkin's account so chilling is the level of detail he provides. He claims that he avoided certain fates because he was too famous to be ignored, but others, he says, weren't so lucky. The allegations of exploitation and manipulation paint a disturbing picture of Hollywood's underbelly, one that the public rarely gets to see.
Civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, sexual assault, and at the hands of Diddy.
Culkin's revelations didn't come out of nowhere. He's been relatively quiet for years, only occasionally stepping into the spotlight to share glimpses of his personal life or to participate in small-scale projects. But now, he seems ready to blow the lid off a system that he says has been hiding in plain sight. The details he's shared so far are enough to make any fan of his early work stop and reconsider the industry that made him a star. He's described a culture where young actors were seen as commodities, used and discarded when their value diminished. Culkin's allegations also draw attention to the gatekeepers of Hollywood, those who hold the keys to success and fame, but who, according to him, also wield their power in much more sinister ways. It's here that figures like Oprah Winfrey and Diddy Combs come into focus. These are individuals who have been celebrated for their success, their philanthropy, and their influence. But Culkin hints that there's more to their stories than what's been portrayed in the media.
Tell her.
I would say, Oprah Winfrey, you know what you need to do, and stop hiding behind what you call was negative comments.
Let's start with Oprah. She's long been seen as the queen of daytime television, a media mogul who built an empire on empowering others and sharing inspirational stories. But Culkin, along with others, has suggested that Oprah's role in Hollywood may not be as benevolent as it seems. There are whispers that she's part of a much larger network of powerful individuals who keep the industry's darker secrets hidden. Culkin hasn't directly accused Oprah of anything specific, but the fact that her name keeps coming up in discussions about Hollywood's hidden underbelly is telling. Whether it's her long-standing friendships with controversial figures or her apparent ability to influence who rises and falls in the industry, Oprah's connection to these stories raises eyebrows. Then there's Diddy, a name that has been synonymous with hip-hop success for decades. Diddy, real name, Combs, built an empire with Bad Boy Records, and he's been a fixture in the music and entertainment worlds ever since. But recent events have cast a shadow over his empire. Accusations of questionable behavior at his infamous parties have circulated for years, but it wasn't until recently that these whispers turned into full-blown lawsuits and criminal investigations.
A U.S. judge has ruled that the rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs will stand trial on federal trafficking and racketeering charges in May. He'll be held in prison until then. Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that he used his business empire to transport women and male workers across state lines to take part in recorded sexual performances. If convicted, he could face a life sentence.
Diddy's parties were legendary in the industry, exclusive, extravagant, and, according to some, the setting for activities that go far beyond what one would expect from a typical celebrity event. Culkin's revelations suggest that these gatherings weren't just about networking and celebrating success. Instead, they were more like a testing ground for those who wanted to be part of the inner circle. Rumors have swirled for years about what really happens behind the closed doors of these lavish events, and Culkin's testimony only adds fuel to the fire. The lawsuits against Diddy have been piling up, with allegations ranging from exploitation to coercion. Multiple accusers have come forward, describing a pattern of behavior that paints the music mogul in a very different light than the public persona he's carefully crafted over the years. These accusations are serious, and they've led to a series of investigations that have shaken the entertainment world. Diddy has vehemently denied all allegations, but the sheer number of claims and the consistency of the stories being told have many questioning just how deep his involvement goes.
This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
Culkin's revelations are a part of a larger conversation that's been happening in Hollywood for years. He's not the first former star to speak out, but his voice carries significant weight because of how beloved he once was. Fans grew up watching him, and his image as the mischievous but lovable Kevin McAllister from Home Alone has endured for decades. To hear him talk about the darker side of the industry is jarring, not just because of the content of his claims, but because of who he is. It's hard to reconcile the image of the innocent, wide-eyed boy from Home Alone with the grown man who is now revealing the harsh realities of Hollywood. What makes Culkin's account even more compelling is how it aligns with what other former stars have been saying for years. Elijah Wood, for instance, has spoken about the dangers that young actors face in the industry, although he's been careful not to name names. Corey Feldman, another former star, has been even more direct, alleging that powerful figures in Hollywood abused him and his friend Corey Haim. Feldman's claims have often been dismissed by the mainstream media as sensationalist or exaggerated, but Culkin's recent comments seem to back up what Feldman has been saying all along.
Now, to the latest on the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs. This one has so many people talking. The disgraced music mogul facing federal racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking charges. Both the prosecution and defense teams are set to discuss the next phase of action following the indictment, as investigators work to determine potential co-conspirators. But how exactly did we get here?
Culkin's decision to speak out now could be seen as part of a larger movement within Hollywood. In recent years, there's been a push for greater transparency and accountability, especially when it comes to issues of exploitation and abuse. The Me Too movement brought to light many of the industry's hidden secrets, but the stories that have come out so far may only be the tip of the iceberg. Culkin's revelations suggest that there's still much more to uncover, and that some of the most powerful figures in the industry may be involved in ways that haven't yet been fully revealed. The fact that Culkin has chosen to come forward now after years of relative silence is significant. It suggests that he feels the time is right to share his story, perhaps because he believes that the public is finally ready to hear it. His allegations are serious, and they raise important questions about the nature of power and control in Hollywood. How many other young stars have been exploited in similar ways? How deep does the corruption go? And most importantly, what can be done to stop it?
Have y'all spoke after this? I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't have anything against Oprah. You just called her a I'm gonna tell you why.
You named your dog Oprah, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Culkin's claims also raise questions about the role of media in perpetuating these issues. For years, the media has played a key role in shaping public perceptions of Hollywood's biggest stars. Figures like Oprah and Diddy have been celebrated for their success, their philanthropy, and their influence. But if Culkin's allegations are to be believed, the media may have been complicit in covering up the darker side of these stories. It's not just about what's being reported, it's about what's being left out. How many stories have been buried because they didn't fit the narrative that the industry wanted to present?
You have a couple of pets as well, a dog and a cat with interesting names, to say the least.
Yeah. That's Oprah.
That's Oprah. Okay.
As more and more details come to light, it's becoming clear that the entertainment industry is in the midst of a major reckoning. Culkin's revelations are just one piece of a much larger puzzle, but they're an important piece. He's shining a spotlight on an issue that has been ignored for far too long, and in doing so, he's giving a voice to those who have been silenced by the very system that promised to make them stars. There's no telling where the story will go from here. Culkin has hinted that there's more to come, and as other former stars continue to speak out, the picture of Hollywood that emerges is likely to be even more disturbing than what we've seen so far. But one thing is clear. The days of turning a blind eye to the industry's dark secrets are over. Fans and insiders alike are demanding answers, and the time for accountability has come.
Bullies in this business. And the bullies are so used to being bullies, they don't understand when somebody bite back.
Right.
Not bark back, they bite back.
Right.
As we move into the next chapter of this unfolding drama, the focus will inevitably shift to the figures who have been implicated in these stories. Oprah, Diddy, and others will have to answer tough questions about their roles in the industry's darker dealings. Will they continue to deny the allegations, or will they finally be held accountable for their actions? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: Hollywood will never be the same again. And that brings us to the next section of this story, the connection between Diddy's recent arrest and the shocking allegations that have emerged about his infamous parties. Things take an even darker turn as we dive into the details surrounding Diddy's recent arrest and the shocking allegations that have surfaced about his infamous parties. You know, the ones that were whispered about in Hollywood circles for years. Well, it looks like the whispers have turned into full-blown accusations, and the fallout is nothing short of explosive.
You're not done, and that Combs did not do this alone. Do you foresee that there could be other charges related to this case?
I'm not taking anything off the table.
Diddy, or Sean Combs as he's known legally, has always had a reputation for throwing the wildest, most extravagant parties in the industry. But as more information comes to light, it seems like those parties were a lot more than just a place to rub shoulders with celebrities and sip champagne. The allegations suggest something much more sinister was happening behind closed doors. And now, with Diddy facing serious legal troubles, the public is starting to piece together a narrative that has long been hidden in the shadows. Let's start with Diddy's arrest. On September 16, 2024, federal agent arrested him in New York City, acting on a sealed indictment that had been filed by the U.S. Attorney's Office. This wasn't just some minor legal scuffle. Diddy was being charged with a racketeering conspiracy and a whole host of other serious crimes. According to reports, these charges include everything from trafficking to forced labor and even allegations of using his business empire to facilitate illegal activities. The indictment alleges that Diddy has been running this operation for years, using his wealth and influence to cover up his actions.
Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff.
The details of the indictment are chilling. Authorities claim that since 2008, Diddy has been manipulating and threatening people to maintain his public image while secretly engaging in activities that would make anyone's stomach turn. And what's even more shocking is that these accusations aren't just coming from random people. Some of the claims are being made by individuals who were once part of his inner circle. The most explosive of these accusations, that Diddy forced attendees at his infamous parties to participate in what he allegedly called freak-offs. Now, if you've ever heard the term freak-off before, you might already have an idea of what this could be. But for those who haven't, let's just say these weren't your typical Hollywood parties. According to the indictment and various lawsuits, Diddy would allegedly orchestrate these events, where people were coerced into doing things they had not consented to. And it wasn't just a one-time thing. These parties allegedly took place regularly, with Diddy reportedly using his power and influence to ensure that no one dared to speak out.
Understand that he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's talk about putting him in, it's like a bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it where they have inmates watching you. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on the inmates that are on side watch.
One of the key figures in these accusations is Rodney Lil Rod Jones, a former producer who worked closely with Diddy on his latest album. Jones, in his lawsuit, has painted a disturbing picture of what life was like being on the inside of Diddy's world. He claims that not only was he pressured to engage in activities he was uncomfortable with, but he also witnessed Diddy giving people drinks laced with substances at these parties. Jones even alleges that Diddy had hidden cameras set up in his homes, recording everything that happened without anyone's knowledge. These cameras, according to Jones, captured footage of high-profile celebrities, athletes, and executives engaging in illegal activities. And here's where things get even more twisted. Jones claims that Diddy has been holding on to these recordings for years, using them as leverage against some of the most powerful people in the industry. Imagine that, the man who threw some of the most legendary parties in Hollywood, secretly filming his guests and holding on to the footage for his own purposes. According to Jones, Diddy's collection of compromising footage includes everyone from A-list actors to top-tier music executives. And if what he's saying is true, this could be one of the biggest scandals Hollywood has ever seen.
This is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
Of course, Diddy's legal team has denied everything. His lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, has called the charges unjust and insists that Diddy is innocent. In a statement, Agnifilo said he is an imperfect person but is not a criminal. To his credit, Mr. Combs has been nothing but cooperative with this investigation, and he voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. But despite the denial, the evidence is mounting, and it's becoming harder and harder to ignore the accusations that are piling up against him. One of the most disturbing aspects of this whole situation is how Diddy allegedly used his wealth and influence to keep people quiet. According to Jones and others who have come forward, Diddy would routinely make his guests sign non-disclosure agreements before attending his parties. These agreements, they claim, were designed to protect him from any potential fallout should anyone decide to speak out about what really went on at these events. It's a tactic that's been used by powerful people in Hollywood for years. But in this case, it seems like Diddy took things to a whole new level.
Okay, some people do think that Diddy can help him, but this guy's going to be locked up forever. His case will probably take at least 3 years to litigate. He'll stay at MDC. There's rumors that he wants to go to Essex County Jail in New Jersey because he doesn't like MDC. He's a Marshals inmate. There's no way they're going to transfer him back and forth, I don't know, several times.
And let's not forget about the timing of all this. Diddy's arrest comes on the heels of several high-profile lawsuits that had already begun to chip away at his carefully crafted public image. Back in November 2023, Diddy's ex-girlfriend Cassie filed a civil suit against him, accusing him of years of physical and emotional abuse. The lawsuit was shocking in its own right, but what really caught people's attention was the speed at which it was settled. Just one day after filing, Cassie and Diddy reached an agreement, leading many to wonder what exactly had been agreed upon behind closed doors. But Cassie wasn't the only one to come forward. In the months that followed, more people began to speak out, each with their own stories of mistreatment and abuse. One of the more recent lawsuits, filed by a woman going by the pseudonym Jane Doe, accused Diddy and several of his associates of forcing her into unthinkable situations when she was a minor. The allegations in that suit were shocking, but they fit a pattern that was starting to emerge, a pattern of control, manipulation, and abuse of power.
It's to be expected, just the shock of this and the questions about what is ahead of us. I mean, how long is he going to be in custody? Is this an R. Kelly situation? Is he going to not get out for a number of years? Is he going to end up serving a long-term prison sentence from this? Or does he have a chance of beating these charges at a trial that could come, within the next 2 years?
Now, when you think of Diddy, you probably think of his music career, his role as a businessman, and his undeniable influence on the entertainment industry. But what these lawsuits and criminal charges suggest is that there was another side to Diddy's empire, one that was built on intimidation and secrecy. The idea that someone as powerful as Diddy could be involved in something like this is hard to wrap your head around, but the more you look at the evidence, the clearer it becomes that something very wrong was happening behind the scenes. And where does Oprah fit into all of this? Well, her connection to Diddy is something that's been raising eyebrows for a while now. Oprah has long been known for her ability to build relationships with some of the most powerful people in Hollywood, and her friendship with Diddy is no exception. They've been spotted together at numerous events over the years, and Oprah has even spoken publicly about her admiration for Diddy's business acumen. But as these allegations come to light, people are starting to question whether Oprah knew more than she was letting on.
I'm just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do.
Some sources have suggested that Oprah may have been aware of Diddy's activities long before they became public knowledge. After all, she's been a fixture in Hollywood for decades, and she's known for having her finger on the pulse of what's happening in the industry. Could it be that she turned a blind eye to Diddy's behavior because of their friendship? Or worse, could she have been complicit in helping him maintain his public image while secretly knowing what was going on behind the scenes?
Ceiling, when it's time to renegotiate, I'm at the bottom again, like I never did what I just did, and I'm just tired. I'm tired. I'm tired.
It's a tough pill to swallow, especially considering Oprah's reputation as a champion for justice and equality. But as more and more details come to light, it's becoming increasingly difficult to ignore the possibility that she may have played a role in keeping Diddy's secrets hidden. Whether or not she was directly involved, the fact that she's been so closely associated with him for so long raises serious questions about what she knew and when she knew it. And let's not forget that Oprah has her own history of being linked to controversial figures. There's her past friendship with Harvey Weinstein, for example, which has been the subject of much speculation ever since the disgraced producer's crimes came to light. Oprah has insisted that she had no knowledge of Weinstein's actions, but many people find it hard to believe that someone with her level of influence could have been completely in the dark. And then there's her connection to John of God, the Brazilian faith healer who was accused of horrifying crimes after being promoted on Oprah's show.
And if I can't fight for them coming up behind me, then what the f*** am I doing? I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. Don't apologize.
It seems like every time a new scandal breaks in Hollywood, Oprah's name gets dragged into the conversation. And while there's no concrete evidence linking her to any of these activities, the fact that she's been so close to so many controversial figures makes people wonder, is Oprah really the inspiring media mogul she's made herself out to be? Or is there a darker side to her success that we've all been missing? As for Diddy, his legal troubles are far from over. With the indictment unsealed and the lawsuits piling up, it's clear that this is only the beginning of a long and grueling battle for him. The charges he's facing could land him behind bars for years, if not decades. And if the allegations about the hidden recordings are true, there could be even more fallout to come. Hollywood is watching closely, and you can bet that other high-profile figures are sweating over what might be revealed in the coming months.
It's a question of that, but when you read through the indictment, it's pretty clear who could be indicted as a co-conspirator. Right now, there are people in the indictment who would be considered unnamed co-conspirators, but clearly have played a role in this conspiracy. And I think prosecutors have some big leverage on them because they're hoping that they testify against Diddy as prosecution witnesses.
The real question now is how far this scandal will spread. We've seen time and time again how these kinds of allegations can have a ripple effect, bringing down not just the people directly involved, but also those who helped enable their behavior. If Diddy really has recordings of some of the most powerful people in the industry, there's no telling how many careers could be destroyed by what's on those tapes. And what about Oprah? Will she finally have to answer for her connections to controversial figures like Diddy and Weinstein? Or will she be able to distance herself from the scandal, as she's done in the past? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. The days of celebrities hiding behind their wealth and influence are coming to an end. The public is demanding accountability, and no one, not even someone as powerful as Oprah, can escape the scrutiny forever.
But there's also strategic reasons for the prosecutors to want him to have co-defendants, because right now he hasn't waived his right to a speedy trial, which would force prosecutors to take up the trial pretty quick, which they actually might not be ready to do. But if they supersede him and have co-defendants with him, it makes it a lot easier to pursue a trial continuance without him waiving his speedy trial right.
So, as we continue to watch the story unfold, one thing is clear. Hollywood will never be the same. The entertainment industry is being forced to confront its darkest secrets, and the fallout from this scandal is going to be felt for years to come. Diddy's arrest is just the tip of the iceberg, and as more information comes to light, it's becoming harder to ignore the fact that the industry has been hiding some very ugly truths for a long time. And now, with Diddy's parties and hidden cameras in the spotlight, we're left to wonder how many more secrets will be uncovered, how many more powerful people will be exposed for their role in these scandals. And most importantly, will justice finally be served for the people who have been hurt by this system of exploitation and abuse? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.